Call in by clicking the link in the stream's description. The professor wants to hear from you.
Beginnings on the cusp. Not too old to adjust. Old dog, new tricks. Remember, I was just a pup. Something dirty in my cup. Clean soul, good car.
Isn't it lovely? I ain't looking back, I'm focused on what's in front of me. Everybody dates a number, but I'm still here luckily. I know that God got me, so I'm in good company. Isn't it lovely?
Welcome, and thank you for joining me tonight. I am Professor Bear, and this is A Bear's Thought. And today, I am sponsored by some great people, great products that you would definitely have to check out. My first sponsor is Nirvana's Comic. If you're anything like me, I am a big comic book nerd. And behind me, you will see my Black Panther. You can't see all my studio, but I got all kinds of comic books up and around. And I found Nirvana Comics, and I will tell you, I'm super impressed on the stock they have of comic book, a lot of rare comic books. So they are a great place to get your comic book junkie needs met. Plus, they also do a subscription box. Every month, they will send you your comics. And that is awesome. If you do that, go that route, you'll get 25% off your entire order, which is great. Plus, if you order more than $30 worth of comics, the shipping is free. So I'm telling you, you need to check them out. Now, again, I want people to understand how much my nerdum runs with me, because I have action figures. I mean, I have a ton of them. So, unfortunately, a lot of time, like in life, things happen, and I was like, I need to go ahead and sell some of mine, but I don't have time. I do so much, I don't have time. Well, I found a great place in Clinton, Tennessee, Tag Team Comics and Collectibles. Boys and girls, I am telling you, if you're into doing any kind of wrestling figures, they are the place for you. They have title belts, they have figures. Look, they have VCR tapes. Now, I know a lot of you younger kids don't know what the hell I'm talking about when I say VCR. Go ask your mother, your father. That thing that look like a brick is a VCR tape. They have them. They have so much stuff. And they have my personal ECW collection there that you can purchase. I'm telling you, you need to go check out their Facebook page. You would not regret it. And last but definitely not least is Chops Cards and Print on Demands. As a kid, I had baseball cards. I have every type of cards you can imagine. And I always said one day I was going to have my own. But then reality set in that I'm lazy and won't do anything to be athletic. But then Chops came into my life, and they made my childhood dream become a reality because I am ordering and getting made Professor Burr trading cards. Yes. Now I am getting 18 of them, 18 for $50. I dare you to beat that anywhere. Plus, if you use my code BURR15, you'll get 15% off your entire order. Man, I'm telling you, if you're in the need for trading cards for your company, for yourself, for any reason, they are the place to go. And this is Chops Cards and Print on Demand. To me, they're the number one card makers in the because they're not in the US, in the world. They're in Canada, so you know they do quality. Now, today, my special guest, give a quick little background. I started out doing my wrestling thing seriously, I guess 2023, 22, and I started getting back into independence wrestling. And I saw this gentleman, and me and him got to talking, and he was so gracious to let me come on his show to talk about the WSN Wrestling Society Network. And me and him have been friends ever since. Now, the only thing my friend can say about me is that I've been promising him for probably the last 2.5 years that I would get down to see his promotion, and I hadn't made it for whatever reason. It seems like every time I say I'm going to go, something comes up. But he's never held it against me, and eventually I will get down there. Let me introduce you to Rocky Shaw. Rocky, how you doing today, my friend?
Man, I'm doing great, and thank you so much for having me on. Guys, y'all are in for a show. WSN Presents Bears Thoughts, and man, it's becoming one of my favorite shows. Enjoyed the father and son podcast. It was so great seeing those two on here with you. Carson has so much personality for a young man, and when they hit me up and they were like, "Hey," I was like, "Get on that podcast." I was like, "Go and have a good time." I was like, I definitely give my endorsement there.
I appreciate that. They are, oh man, I was jealous that at 12 years old, how much he like I told him, he felt like a old man because of all his knowledge, the way he talked about things. I was so amazed, and I was so glad that I actually got them to come on. One of my favorites personally.
Yeah, when we say 12 gauge, we like to say that you are the show, and our fans, we bring you into the show. And because I'm always looking for new talent, and man, I'll tell you just a brief story about that is we had an announcer, he got attacked by Ryan Marks and was kind of out of commission. And so I was stuck in a position where, man, what do I do? And so I've got someone on standby. I start pulling him out, and the crowd turns and was like, "Let Carson do it. Let the little boy do it." And I'm like, the crowd wants it, and I don't know how this is going to go, but I'm going to give it a shot. So I was like, Dan the man was there, and I said, "Dan, can you carry him up there and take care of him and let him do his thing?" And so I get up there, and my expectations aren't high at this point, and I start walking back to the back to let them do their thing, and Carson tears into the mic and starts bringing people out like nothing I've ever saw from a kid before. I mean, he's been a ring announcer for 30 years. And the crowd loved it. He was having a great time. And I learned right then that kid's got some talent. And as long as him and his dad keeps coming to the shows, we're gonna nurture that talent as a fan. So we told him he has his 12 gauge hat and shirt. We were like, you're part of the staff now, baby. And so yeah, that's just I know it's kind of a wild tangent to run off of, but I had to brag on him. It's kind of one of those moments that I'm proud our promotion into. We really bring the fans into it, because that's something you can't do at the big shows.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're in the crowd, you're behind there, you might get a spot on the TV for a second, but you're not going to get to be in the ring or any of that stuff. And so,
well, here's the thing, and this is something that I truly believe from my heart. As much as I have grown up on the NWA/WCW and WWE, I've always had a passion for smaller shows, the indies. And at one point, I got away from it just from being here in Knoxville. I didn't know a lot of indie promotions, and I just really didn't take the time to find. Luckily enough, once I started getting back into it, my wife went with me to one show. Never had been to a wrestling show. When I tell you, she fell in love with everything. And she had kept bugging me, let's go to WWE, let's go to WWE. Now it's to the point she doesn't even care if she ever goes to a WWE show because of the, as I like to call it, the family reunion atmosphere, because you feel like you know everybody. They're so personal, where they just will talk to you, take that time, give that special feel to kids. So that's that memory that they grow up with, and hopefully get to take their kids, a way of keeping the sport alive.
yeah, I'm glad you said that. That's a key word, and there's something I'm focusing in on right now, is keeping the sport alive. And I think that's going to require all of us as a wrestling community to learn how to engage this youth, because they don't consume things like we did in the past, because they don't have, let's face it, TV's all but gone now.
Yeah.
Hey, you've got YouTube and social media. So you've got to engage them on their levels, and we've got to be able to bring them in, because right now, what a lot of the indies and the promotions are doing, we're going around that old school of just throwing out some posters here and there. These kids don't look at those posters.
Yeah.
I mean, it's printed media, and it's a thing of the past. So we've got to engage. We definitely take care of the old fans. We get those posters out there still, but we've got to learn how to engage them through TikTok, social media, YouTube, and say, hey, wrestling is cool, and this is what it is to you. We got to move to that front, and that's what 12 Gauge is really focused on right now. I market our video content, the songs, and I make everything relevant to today's age. Because we still try to cater a little bit to the old school style as well, but again, it's that time where we've got to start reaching out and recruiting those people that say, I love this at a 12 gauge. When I walk in the crowd and these people say, hey, this is the first time I've been to a wrestling show, and I had a blast, and we're coming back next time. That's the best compliment I could ever get.
I agree with you 1,000%. I go to different shows, and I get to meet and see so many different fans. And I think one time I was at a particular show, and the show ended, and what I did, I closed my eyes and just listened. And when I opened my eyes, I just watched of the interactions between the fans and the wrestlers, the promoter, they were so engaged with everything. And like I said, it felt like a family reunion to me because I could see when certain people ain't there, it's like they're generally concerned, like, "Hey, is everything okay? I hadn't seen you in a few months," and I've it is some of the funniest things to me because, like, man, where have you been at? Oh man, I've started getting busy and I've been doing different things. I hadn't forgot about y'all. I'm coming when I can, and then you have the fans walking up. Oh man, I watch your show. You've done great. You're doing great. Thanks for promoting these promotions because I love these promotions. And to me, it's not even a promotion. It's just letting everybody know what I love and what I see of it. And to again, I watch WWE, AEW. I watch those, but truth of the matter is, I get more joy in the indie scene. It's just their style is better. Just everything to me is better, and not to discourage the other companies, but it's stale. It's just stale.
Yes. The
So
formula's gotten stale, and I've been really upset with WWE right now as far as there's so much of WWE that's now became a crossover of UFC. It's almost like UFC and Monday Night Football have ran together, and you're losing the commentators that commentating style that was the Jim Ross, that style of storytelling. And I'll be honest, the last few weeks I have failed to watch a full Monday Night Raw. I watched kind of the beginning of it where Punk does his little thing, and then I kind of feel that everything else I know is going to be predictable, and I kind of know what's going to happen by the end of the show. And so, and honestly, at that point, I'm like, I'm going to invest my time into thinking out my show, and talking to my guys, figuring what direction we're going with on ours, because I mean, they've already got their thing going. So, I'm focused on ours at this point so much that, I try to enjoy it from a standpoint, but sometimes it's not clicking to me now.
I'm the same way. I just, me and another guy was talking, and I told him, I said, I can't remember when I watched the full episode that I'll wait the next day and fast forward. That's my favorite way of watching WWE now, fast forward, because it's like, oh, it's the same match. Let me fast forward. Oh, okay, this backstage segment. Let me see for a second. Oh no, fast forward. And it's no criticism. Well, no, it's a criticism. It's no shade to what they're doing. I get it from a business standpoint, and I get it trying to get new fans and everything, but it just is they are killing it. And I've told people this, and I'm not ashamed to say it. TKO is killing the WWE what it used to be.
I agree.
And I feel sad for a couple of reasons. One, I never thought I would miss the Vince McMahon style of booking because it was so old and boring. But God knows I miss it.
Right? Yes.
And then even today I saw something where they admitted, yeah, we're going to keep pricing these shows to whatever we feel like because y'all still coming. Y'all pay this money. And I was like, oh, y'all about to really have to feel some pain before hopefully somebody will buy WWE out and get it back on track.
Yeah. Well, I don't even understand who the we are that are coming to buy. I can't afford to go to a WWE event. And so I'm like, so where is all these people getting the money just to be able to go? I mean, because now it's like you could plan a vacation for what you could do a WWE event for.
Exactly. And then they're cutting the damn house shows out for the smaller markets, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And they again they said Nick Khan said that they're going to be doing more international shows. So they're basically, hey, we're getting the hell out of the U.S. unless the money's right.
Yeah.
But we have talked about that crap enough. Let's get back to the reason why you are here.
Let's do it.
All right. So the question I generally ask everybody when I first start this, how did you get into wrestling?
Well, it all started, I mean, as I was younger, I fell in love with wrestling as, and the last few days I explored. So if some of you want to kind of dive into my background, there's kind of some stories about me growing up that I've kind of opened up a kind of chapter of my life of what I was like as a kid, you know, and the things that I saw and went through. But they molded and shaped me in a way where there's a time that I remember sitting in front of the TV and seeing Sting and Ric Flair. And this was right when Sting was and Flair were coming into that collision with one another for the first time. Well, I instantly was like, man, Sting was something else to me. I loved Flair's energy, but the fact that Sting was able to inspire so many people and kids, well, I wanted that to be me. I wanted to be that kind of person. I love that, and I was like, that's what I want to be. But growing up at that time, you know, we were Gen Xers, so you know our parents did, you know, obviously they did not pamper us. I was too small. They were telling me I was too small. You're never going to be a pro wrestler. Get that out of your head. Those big guys would just break you in half. And so not that truly changed me. I was always the kid that I'll prove anybody wrong. But so, you know, I grew up and found martial arts, studied, worked. I spent days from you know in the yard doing. I didn't have YouTube back then. You know, reading the Dao Jeet Kune Do, learning my moves, you know, and learning how to become this. And I was fast. I was tall, lanky. Still didn't have the size that I eventually obtained. You know, but it took me till I was 26 before I started filling out. And so at that point in time, but life went on. I did jobs like everybody else, sales, did kickboxing, and then it was a late in life situation. I guess I was right at 42 when I started actually a pro wrestling career. After hitting the gym, a guy walked up and said, "Hey, you ever thought about doing pro wrestling?" So I'd love to. The door never knew how to get in there. The door never opened for me. And he says, "Well, look, this is what I want to do." And so I started wrestling, honestly, and we still have the training. I was a kickboxer and martial artist, which was probably not great for the guys that I was in the ring with, you know, because I was snug. Let's say that, to say the least. I would have been that Sheamus style worker that you knew if I hit you, it was not just a light pat. So in that same instance, I had fewer amount of workers that actually wanted to work me as well. And but then I obtained some popularity through Facebook and social media. Rome, Georgia, my town, really got behind me. And a local promotion here reached out to me, and one of the promoters said, and I was kind of done with it. I didn't like the fact that I didn't have the training, and I wanted to go further, but didn't know how to do it still. But I got that call and said, "Hey, we want you to come and train with us." And financially, you know, and those of you who know what wrestling school is really expensive. You got to have some money. And I still didn't. My wife had just went over, we just were dealing with a kidney transplant, all this stuff. So financial exact. Like that, so and I was honest with them. Like, I would love to still do it, but these are the problems we're having, and I can't invest that kind of money. They were like, well, if you'll come wrestle for us and just for us, we'll take care of the training end. We want you to come in, you'll train. So I trained with multiple people, starting with Mike Golden, the Golden Boy, and then I moved on training with Jimmy Wang Yang. And so through I got to work with so many great people. Skrilla the Great, with a big shout out to Skrilla. During that time, Zach Mosley, we were Pepper Bottom, Jazzy was just starting. Jazzy Yang was just starting with us, so it was Jazzy still had training wheels on just like the rest of us did at that point in time. So, and that's kind of where it started. And we got that training in. I went on to main event the Superstars of that year, right after training, and also I won Superstar of the Year of, what was that, 2022, and Feud of the Year of 2022 with Big Dog. So the career went fast. I mean, but that's how I got there. The name, and of course, I renamed so 12 Gauge Pro Wrestling. So my finish, for those who were not around when I was in the ring, was the super kick, but it became known as the 12 Gauge because we had a fan that said something one day about, like, you hit as hard as a 12 gauge, and nobody ever kicked out of the 12 gauge. So even to the time I retired, it was the move that once I hit it, there was a 1, 2, 3 at the end of it. So, I mean, things kind of progressed a little bit further on, and I'll address that later if you ask the questions. But that's kind of how I got into pro wrestling.
Wow. So basically, you pulled a DDP later in life. You got your chance, and you took full advantage of it.
I absolutely did.
That's great. And what I love about that is I've actually heard more stories of a lot of wrestlers starting it later in life, and it's just a great, I think it's heartwarming, because that should translate over to a young kid who wants to do it, but things are happening and they just don't know how, or they're too scared to try it. You have to be willing to fail. And that's a life lesson, something that I tell my kids all the time. And even now, I have to talk to myself and make sure I realize, if I don't try, I've already lost. You got to keep moving and trying.
You do. There's those mornings you have to have that discipline to get up, because I'll tell you, when I trained, especially with Jimmy and the rest of, we trained in a gym that didn't have, it was just a old tin building, and when it was wintertime, it was cold. You got out there in the ring and you wrestled, and you tried to wrap up what you could, but you were freezing. But that was, I mean, you started, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, you're out there, wrestling, freezing to death, and it's not fun. You get up, because there's mornings you're like, oh, and especially at 42 years old, after bumping, because bumping for a 42-year-old and bumping for a 28-year-old is a completely different recovery system.
Oh yeah.
But it comes down to how bad do you want it, and how disciplined are you going to be, because for all of us, our roads are different and time's different. We have to learn to accept that. And I like the fact that you hear kids say everything down today. They're like, oh, they felt like they have to do this or that by 25. No, you don't. I mean, you got a whole life ahead of you, and take your time. You let things happen when they happen, and that it's right for you. Because my road and your road and someone else's road are all going to be different. And time's that valuable resource that you can't get back. So enjoy what you have and take what comes and make use of it.
Definitely. So again, I always think, wow, I'm at a place I never thought I'd be in life, and I couldn't be any more happier because I get to live out a dream that I've dreamed as a kid, as a teenager, as a young man, and never thought I would have this chance, and I have it, and I'm running with it every way I can. Now, with you retiring, how did you decide, you know what, I'm gonna start my own promotion?
Well, the retiring part was unfortunately it wasn't optional. So for everybody that doesn't know, so I had during the latter part of my career there, I had problems with I could not, and of course, the part I was thinking was my age, but my cardio was just dying and suffering, and I could not ever seem to catch my breath, get my airway going, and no matter the cardio that I tried, the training, and a lot of people tell you I was in the gym 5-6 days a week on a regular basis, but my cardio was getting worse. So, speaking of Jimmy Wang Yang, Jimmy said one day to me, Rock, I want you to go and have your heart checked out because something's not matching up here. Well, we went through that process and multiple times, wore monitors, everything else, never found anything. I go to, they're exhausting the resources, and I go to an echocardiogram, babe. The echocardiogram. And they're checking. The doctor says, roll over on your side and squeeze your stomach muscles. I do this, and then I hear the nurse say, oh, hold on just a minute. Let me step out and grab a doctor real quick. Well, if you're sitting there, that's not a good sign.
Oh yeah.
And so she calls him in. They're like, oh, we're going to stop the test right now, and we want you to see so and so. And basically, I was diagnosed with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and this is something I think I think they talked about Big E even having some issues with. But basically, my heart muscle had thickened the walls. It's a rare genetic condition, and it was very common in athletes when we were growing up that we heard about football players running on the field and they're dropping over dead.
Right.
Their heart. The same thing. So, but they have a way to treat it now. Unfortunately, it's very invasive. They actually take your heart and shave it out like the inside of an orange and take the muscle out of there and to restore your heart. So, but mine had been in such a rough condition from that the valves had took a lot of damage. So they had to replace one of the valves as well when they went in there that they weren't aware of. So that being short, after all that, they were like, Rock, no more wrestling. And so me, like any athlete, that hits hard. You know and you understand what it means, but you also at my age, I understood I got a family. I got 2 little girls and a wife. So I've got to step away from pro wrestling, and it was kind of dark. I mean, the things it does to your head, things like that. And I stepped away for a while, and then it came in and helped out here and now and then with different promotions. They asked for videos, advice, things like that. But shortly after, there was basically an opening in this area for a promotion to return or to be opened. Someone come to me and said, hey, Rocky, this is what we want to do, and we're willing to back it completely. But here's the deal. You run the show. It's yours. We're just there to support and make it and make it happen for you. And so we talked, and honestly, I was blown away. Never thought this opportunity would happen. I didn't have the funds on my own to, we're talking about buying a ring, skirts, lighting, camera, all the things that I had somewhat some knowledge on. Now, some of it I didn't. I had to learn a lot of booking and things like that. But I've been, over the last several months, I've sharpened those skill set over and over. But that's how basically 12 Gauge Pro Wrestling was born. The opportunity was given to me, and since April of last year, since we started, we ran our first show, I've grabbed the reins and held on. And some days I think, like everybody else, is what did I get myself into? Because maybe dealing with wrestlers, you don't know drama until you deal with pro wrestlers behind the scenes. Man, I've heard arguments and comments and things that I never thought I would hear men make. And it can be a show. But in the same instance, I've gathered some brotherhood, some people that I can really trust. Our champion, Walker 13, is a beast. Walker is a proud representation of 12 Gauge Pro Wrestling. Great talents that I've got to bring in, like Orion, that was from the House of Black. One of my best friends and wrestlers, Chris Kronk. Nothing to lose, Chris Kronk. And if you're in this area and I said Chris Kronk, you know exactly who I'm talking about. And so, and then there's the young talent like Rico Bravo. Well, we in Nagicism. I'm talking about a vet, not a young talent, but a vet. And I know you know Nagicism is as well.
Yes.
And then I mentioned Skrilla the Great earlier. Man, I'm living life on the top of it right now because I get to, these guys that I worked with and were friends are now my team. And what's cooler than that?
That is so true. Definitely so true. I've been lucky enough to see your journey, and man, I couldn't be more prouder and happy for you because I seen where you started and where you are now. And I guess too, what makes it even better for me looking on the outside looking in is I see people talking about you. I'm like, oh yeah, he's making that name. People started to talk about it. If I'm hearing it up here in Knoxville, Tennessee, yeah, you doing something.
Yeah. I often say there's my normal fans and then my super fans that they don't know that they're fans, but they are.
Yeah,
because whether they're talking, as long as they're talking about me, I'm getting my name out there. So, I keep a lot of people up at night.
but that, I think too, that is a true sign of your devotion to the sport, because like you said, when you had to step out of it, it hit you a different kind of way. And then people believed in you so much, they're like, hey, look, we got the financial. We need you at the brain. This is yours. We trust you. Now go out there and prove us right. And every time you do.
Yeah, and it is such an honor. The team that I have behind me that does that gave me the reins for this. I can't tell you how thankful I am. I'm only not saying their name because they wouldn't want me to. But I do have such a phenomenal team. I will mention, shout out one guy, Tommy Bates is in the Bates family. He takes down the ring. He gets everything done. He does the stuff that I'm not good at. I am not the engineer, the guy to get the ring up and to tell people how to do these things. Tommy is that guy that has it done by the time I walk in. And I have a strict policy. When someone comes up to me, I was like, and it has something to do with that, I was going to talk to Tommy. If Tommy says it's as good as coming from me. But again, just a shout out the praise that we all have those people behind our team sometimes that people don't realize because they're not in the ring. They're not under the spotlight. They're not on my Facebook. But he is essential to me getting that show going every time. So,
and that's the thing too. If you have any type of team for whatever business, pleasure, whatever, you're going to have these two different type of team members. You're going to have the one that wants to be out there with you. He wants to share the spotlight, and he's not trying to take it for himself. He's not selfish, but he likes hearing the praise. And then you got the ones who don't want anybody to know what they're doing. They will do whatever needs to be done, but does not want to be in that light, don't want the praise. They're more happy that the team is winning, are not caring about their own individual glory. And that's what makes such a great team. Like, everybody knows how to play their part and do what needs to be done.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
With that, and this is one of those questions I like to ask too. Where do you see yourself and your promotion in 5 years?
5 years. Man, I think, to be honest, it's all depending on the crowd and the fans, because we do nothing without them. But the way that our fan base is growing and how steady and what I see, because we're building a new crowd. A lot of people they compare and they're like, oh, this place over here drew 200 people, 300 people. Well, first of all, a lot of those cases, wrestlers and promoters have a way of magnifying, counting by twos instead of when they calculate their numbers a lot of the time. Right. I'm very honest about our numbers, but if we do 80, 86 people, I'm proud of that, but because probably 15 to 20 of those are new wrestling fans, and we roll that over to each time. So I'm building a whole new product base and fans that are 12 gauge fans. So I'm going those numbers, even if it's 5, 10 new people at a time. So that's in 5 years, I look at a whole rabid base of 12 gauge fans. And hopefully at that point in time, I'm getting ready to put my successor in line where I get to step back and watch the brand grow. And things are just set in place that I can go, all right, I put my heart and soul into this. Now it's up to the fans and whoever that I choose to give the reins to keep growing this sport and keep giving these. I always want 12 gauge to be a launch pad for younger new talent. If you look at my roster and for better or worse, I've gotten, some feedback from it, that hateful feedback, but that's okay. I don't really have anybody on the roster typically that's over 35, 36 years old. Now that doesn't mean that you can't be on that roster. I mean, but to me, those vets like Skrilla and so forth are there to help these younger guys. Give them that opportunity they need and that guidance, and let's launch them. Let's do because the problem I do see now in pro wrestling that 12 gauge has to be addressed is that the old guys don't want to pass the torch no more. And we got to do that. We got to build the new stars if we want these young kids to come in, because they don't want to see the guy that my great grandpa watched wrestle. They want to see the guy that they knew and they see on that's in the gym that's ripped from it's like he's cut out of ivory. That's what they want. So that's what we got to give them. So yeah. So the answer in 5 years, hopefully I'm passing the torch, and we in 12 gauge is a brand name that everybody knows, and that carries with it some excitement And it's okay. They don't have to know Rocky Shaw. That part I'm fine with, fading into the background. But knowing 12 Gauge for the spirit and what it is as a company for pro wrestling, that's what I care about establishing.
That's cool. With that being said, what is your goal for leaving a legacy for Rocky Shaw?
Well, I think for better or worse, my name has built it. It becomes famous and infamous in different areas. So already at that point. So mine is, regardless of my legacy, would be to be the person that gave opportunity, that innovated in this area in pro wrestling, especially Georgia wrestling, that people go, okay, this guy gave, even though he couldn't finish a career, long term, he gave back to the business that they gave to him right at the beginning, gave him hope when he was younger, and then gives that hope back to other future generations. And it's okay that some people remember me as I don't need to be liked. I mean, by everybody, but I want the respect to being remembered as he did it his way and he stuck to it.
I like that. I really do, because like you said, nobody is going to be totally liked by everybody.
Yeah, correct.
But that respect thing, definitely. You can hate me all you want, but you at least respect what I've done and who I am.
Yeah. Yep.
So, tell me about your next upcoming show.
All right, Saturday. So we're closing in really quick. We have called it's a 12 Gauge Pro Wrestling presents Breaking the Silence. And so doors open 6:30, bell time 7:30 Eastern time. We are at the Coosa Valley Fairgrounds. We have so I have a goal that it's been complicated to keep up with, but so far I feel like I've achieved it. Every show that I've had, I raised the bar just a little bit more. And we have cards that I'll put up against anyone in Georgia when you look at my cards, and to go, wow, he's got 5 main event style matches, not 2, not 1. These are 5 must-see matches. And so we do that. I've got, we talked about Narcissism earlier. Narcissism is in a match with Rico Bravo. And I don't know if you're familiar with Rico, but Rico is, to me, is a very much a younger Narcissism starting out. He has, and not that Naja is old, but Naja is, draped in belts right now. I don't know what he's 3-4 belts in on him. The belt's probably way more than Naja does. But he is truly one of the best. He's fast, he's agile, and the thing with that as well is, God, man, is Rico is all that too. He has everything, but he doesn't have the experience. So my goal is, okay, I'm throwing him in there with the big dog, and he's going to learn to swim. So Rico, I mean, that's just one of the matches. We've got Eden Monroe versus Isabella Wilder. Eden, fantastic storyteller. We talked about that old school style of flamboyance, and I mean, just bringing the crowd to their feet with that heat personality of a heel. Eden is that. Everybody in the arena, whether they love to hate her, but everyone has always asked, when's Eden coming back? But she's that heel. And Isabella, are you familiar with Isabella Wilder? Have you saw her yet?
No, I can't say that she comes to mind, but again, you know I consume so much. It's
Sure.
easy
Sure.
to miss people and names.
So, so she is been in the business working for 4 months. I
Oh,
brought her
wow.
in to the fairgrounds for our show after someone told me, take a shot on her, take a chance. And you know me, that's exactly what I'm going to do with new talent. I met her, cute as can be, great personality. And and so when she talked to me, I was, oh, the fans are going to eat her up. But now the question is how can she perform in the ring? So I put her with Eden that night in the fair. 800 people strong, probably in that pavilion at that point in the fair. We're going nuts. I mean, they both had this crowd in the palm of their hand, and she worked like she'd worked for years in that ring. I was impressed. She has the charisma because the working part, you can almost teach any wrestler how to work, right?
Right.
You can't teach charisma.
Nope.
You can't teach personality. And that person that person that has that it factor with the crowd, you can't teach it. They either have it or they don't.
Yep.
And she had that. So again, so if y'all want to see a great match, Isabella and Eden's going to be there. Real weird, Chris Crunk. We mentioned that name earlier.
Yep.
Chris Crunk is on the card with the last match. Chris was facing Naja. Naja took a little bit of a shortcut, for a distraction and got the 1-2-3 on Chris. So we got to run that back somewhere. But Troy Carter, which was one of his friends up to that point, had come out to the ring to help out, we thought. And then he spins Chris around and kicked him in the coconuts. And left Chris lying in the mat before that, he picked him up and package pile drived him to the mat. And left Chris laying with a crowd that was shocked at what Troy's actions were. And but this Saturday there's gonna be retribution. Troy's got to face what he done with Chris. And so you got these two colliding, and it's gonna be a fight. And great wrestling, great guys that were very talented, but there's gonna be some personal blood on the field here. And not to skip all the matches, but I'll shoot straight through to the main event, which is the 12 gauge heavyweight championship. And that is Walker 13 versus Sean Christopher. And both of these two have a past. They've both been around Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. They both are known as in the names just like Chris Crunk is in those areas. Sean Christopher has held titles everywhere. And he's had Walker's number, but Walker's not the same man that he was even a year ago. So our Memphis Made Monster versus Sean Christopher is probably going to set the roof on fire.
Oh, wow, that is great. So, if I am a new fan and I want to see some of the action work, is there anywhere I can go to watch?
You absolutely can. So you on YouTube, you can just find us at 12 Gauge Pro. And we are there. We're also on Facebook as the same way, 12 Gauge Pro Wrestling, or you can just look us up. We have some stuff there, but I put every event is available in 4K, edited by me by hand, and usually up within 3 to 4 days of the event. So I'm crazy, and most people tell me I am. They're like, how do you get that done? And my wife will tell you, and this also annoys her completely. We will come home and I'm tired and I'm up either that night or I'm loading all the stuff from the camera onto the Mac and getting ready to edit the next morning, because I start that process because and it's hard because I really need to pass that to someone else, but it's my product and my passion. So it's hard for me to hand it over because I know my vision for it and I know what I want. And it's nobody else's fault. People could do a great job, I'm sure, probably better than I can of it. But that's my learning level with this right now, is passing things on that where I'm not doing everything myself.
Definitely can understand that. And you were talking earlier about having a great team around you, and they are helping build a great organization. Um, and I definitely agree that sometimes it is hard to give the reign to someone else because, like you said, it's your vision. No matter, you can sit down and explain it to that same person over and over and over again. And it's not that they don't comprehend it, they just still don't see it the way you see it.
Yes.
And and it's no fault of their own. It's just that, because like you said, this is your baby.
Mm-hmm.
And you are going to treat your baby the right way.
That's
Now,
right.
people are going to come close. People may actually surprise you and get it damn near where you want it, but it's still going to be. If I put my spin on it, that part would have popped.
Yeah.
But I definitely understand that it's gonna take you a while, but you'll find them. And like I always love to do, and I try to do, anytime I have a guest on here, I want them, and me and you, I consider us friends.
Yes, sir.
I want you to know that you are doing so great. And I want to give you your flowers, because a lot of times people, great, and like I said, wrestling fans, we love people and they do certain things for us. But the one thing we're not good at is giving flowers to people while they're here. And it's, again, sometimes it's our fault, sometimes we don't think about it, whatever. But people deserve their flowers. They deserve to know that all the hard work that you put in, that people see, the opportunities you give people, the hope and belief of contributing to wrestling for the next generation and the next generation. I feel like it's my duty to tell you, from all your fans, all the people that love your show, all the people that support you, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I do.
Again, and we, like, life is life. So you're going to have people pass away, but there's nothing better than to be able to give people their flowers so they can smell them, so they understand, damn, all the hard work I've done and am doing is not going in vain, because people see it and people celebrate it. Again, just like the Father and Son podcast,
Yes.
we talked off camera for a little bit, and they were like, we've made it. Professor Burr wants us on his podcast. And to me, I'm like, no, I mean, y'all made it way before me, and I'm nothing big, but the way he explained it is like, yes, you are. You man, we've seen you, we hear about you. You do so much that we feel like you are at this level. And as hard it is for me to believe people see me that way and different things, I try to be very humble. I try to be understanding, and keep my goal of elevating wrestling the way I can, up and beyond, so the next 3, 4, 5 generations can get to have the same love and passion for the sport we all love. So I'm going to continue giving people their flowers, and I'm going to be not only give flowers, but if I feel like you're doing something wrong, I'm going to be man enough to have a conversation with you. Now, you don't have to listen to me. I'm not saying everything I think, see, and do is right, but I just think it's fair to say, hey, man, you might want to look at this. Again, listen to me or don't, that's fine, but at least I know I've said my piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
And man, again, I thank you so much for doing the show. You're definitely going to be back. We already talked about it. You're going to be back in February. No, both actually. Yeah, both. So, because again, I want to give back to the podcasters and the promoters for all the hard work y'all do. Because a lot of times, I think y'all see and know you have fans and stuff, but y'all don't really understand how much y'all touch people's lives. You've helped keep someone who was just really frustrated, and just at the end, they saw your promotion, and was like, man, you know what? This ain't bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was. And I think people need to get their flowers and enjoy them. And that's my goal for the next the months in 2026. But I love talking to people who don't get to talk to different fans. I want to help. I want people, maybe someone in the UK is watching this and like, well, hell, I got to figure out this and because I found that I had people that watch in the UK. So that blows my mind.
Yeah.
So again, I'm going to stop rambling because I get in on these rants and I don't mean it. But again, I appreciate you taking the time to come on. And I can't promise when, but I promise you I will get down there. And when I get down there, we're going to take a picture so people know I didn't lie to you.
Absolutely. We'll have a good time. We'll get some pictures with you, and I'll get you if you're there early enough or late enough. I was going to say I'll sit you down if you want a little side interview with one of my guys. You make your pick, and we'll make it happen.
Man, that sounds good. Sounds good. Again, and like if you want your guys to have interviews with me, send them my way. I'll be glad to do it.
Yeah, and I think speaking of, when I will toss out Kyle Charisma, which is my ring announcer. He's done something with Jeremy with Impact Media as well too. I think you'll really enjoy Kyle Charisma. He's one of those rare finds that I found in the crowd and picked out and made him a ring announcer. And baby, he's doing great. Full of personality, and his name is Charisma for a reason. But I think you would really enjoy him. I think your fan base would really enjoy him.
That's cool. We definitely have to make something happen there.
Yep, absolutely.
All righty. Guys, girls, thank you so much for watching. And I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Hey, it's a bird's thought. And before I do leave, the two things I always need to say: support indie wrestling. I cannot stress it enough. You will get so much pleasure out of indie wrestling, and you won't have to spend the whole your monthly mortgage just to go for a couple hours. You get a great show. You get to meet some of the guys and girls, and you'll have a great time. And if you have family, I promise you, your kids will enjoy it. And second thing, continue to support us. We really thank you. And we have a Patreon page which I will be filming this weekend some new exclusive stuff for the Patreon page. If you haven't joined, please join, check us out. If you have, thank you. And I hope you are enjoying it, and let a friend know. And with that being said, we will be back around the campfire soon. I'm Professor Bear, and this has been a Bear's Thoughts.
Thank you very much.